So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to kick off. So, I want you guys to put a really big, warm round of applause because Prabhuji really deserves it. And please give it up for Sri Radharaman Das. Louder than that. With a big cheer.
Thank you all so very much for taking time today to spend this evening together as one community to hear about and glorify Lord Shri Ram on his beautiful anniversary of his birth. Sa ekat odhyana vipane khelanti sumano haraha. Once upon a time, when Mother Sita was at the age of 7 years old, she was playing in the garden of her father, Maharaj Janak. While Sita was playing in the garden of Janakpuri, she saw far away 2 parrots singing the names of Lord Shri Ram. This was the first time that Sita, at the age of 7, heard the name of Lord Shri Ram. And as Sita came closer and closer to these 2 parrots, she noticed that they were in fact reciting the pastimes of Lord Shri Ram, which have not yet occurred. The parrots were singing Ramo Mahir Patir Bhumo. In the future, there will be a king by the name of Lord Ram, Patir Bhumo, and he will become the. कृपया उनको थोड़ा शांत कीजिए, वरना कथा में तो विघ्न ही आएगा ही. Sorry. Lord Shri Ram will be the king of planet Earth. Bhavishyati Manoharaha. And in the future, for tens and thousands of years, he will be attracting the hearts and minds of millions of people. When Sita heard these 2 parrots singing the future pastimes of Lord Shri Ram, she called upon her Sakhis in the same way that Shri Radharani has her friends, her girlfriends. Sita also has her Sakhis. Urmila, Mandavi, Shrutakirti, and so many others. She asked her Sakhis, please capture these 2 parrots very gently and bring them close to me. Urmila and Shrutakirti, they captured these parrots in their hands and they brought them to Sita Devi. Sita asked these 2 parrots, Gauvam, who are you? Kutra samagato, where have you come from? The most important question, Go Ramaha, who is Lord Ram? Who is this person? Ka cha sa Sita, who is the Sita that you are speaking of in your songs? Taj jnanam tu kutasmritam, how is it possible that you have learned this pastime? The bird said, we live in the ashram of Maharishi Valmiki. Now in India, for those who have been raised in India, you will know that every time you see a painting or a picture of Maharishi Valmiki, he is always surrounded by animals, birds, cranes, squirrels. Because Maharishi Valmiki, he had the special benediction of not only being able to educate humans, but every insect, every animal, every being in the ashram of Maharishi Valmiki, they all learnt the Ramayana. Therefore, in the Ramayana, you'll find the episodes of multiple animals again and again. All of you know the story on how Maharishi Valmiki first composed the Ramayana. Very quickly, without deterring too much, Maharishi Valmiki went through the Tamasa river, he was offering his darpan to Lord Shri Vishnu, and then he saw one architect, one hunter, firing his arrow into the heart of one of the cranes. This crane was enjoying with its partner crane. And from Maharishi Valmiki's Karuna, he said the very first verse that was ever written in society. Ma nishad pratishtha thvam agama shashvati sama yat kronch mitunade kam abadi kama mohitam. O hunter, how is it that you have brutally separated the female crane from the masculine crane? In doing so, you shall not live a full life of happiness. In fact, I curse you to become the most popular in this world in a negative sense for destroying the union of two people. Maharishi Valmiki uttered this curse to the hunter in respect to the male and female crane. But in fact, this verse none other than personified the future separation of Sita and Ram by the efforts of Ravan. And in this way, these two cranes, they gave rise to the 24,000 verse Valmiki Ramayana. So when Sita asked the two parrots, and the parrot said, "We have learned the Ramayana from Maharishi Valmiki," that is when Sita said, "Please tell me some verses." The birds then began to explain that the son-in-law of Maharaj Dashrath, Rishi Shringa, he will perform a yajna. And in that Putra Kameshti yajna, Lord Vishnu will descend as Ram, Bharat, Lakshman and Shatrughna. And in this way, when Lord Shri Ram comes to an age of 16, he will travel to Mithila, and in Mithila he will break the Shiv Dhanush, and having broken the Shiv Dhanush, he will marry the most beautiful maiden in the whole of creation, whose name is Janki, Sita. When Sita heard this, she became absolutely full, for the very first time, full of natural, spontaneous love towards Sri Ram. And as she began to experience these emotions towards Lord Sri Ram, the parrots then said, "Please release us. We now need to go back home." Now Sita, having come back to her senses, she said, "I have some more questions to ask you." And Sita asked the parrots, "Sa Ram Kutra, where is Ram today? Vartate Kasya Putra, where is Ram's father living? Katam Tu, how is it possible for Lord Shri Ram to come at the age of 16, break the Shiv Dhanush and marry the daughter of Maharaj Janak?" And then Sita asked the fourth question. She said to the parrots, "Kidrig Rupa Daro Naraha, how does Ram look like?" Sita was very anxious. In fact, the Sanskrit says Pira. Sita began to feel a painful separation, full of love towards Lord Shri Ram at this point. And she was eager to learn how he looks like. The parrots then said, "We need to go home." But the female parrots, having understood the heart of Janaki, Hridaye Gyatva, the female parrots began to speak. The powerful King Dashrath, the progeny of Maharaj Raghu, of the Surya Vamsh, he will be the father of Lord Ram. And Ram will appear in the Chaitra Mas on the Navami Tithi, when the star Punarvasu has risen, and in the Cancer ascendant, when all of the most best planets are exalted, on that day Ram will appear. How does he look like? His face is like a lotus bud. His eyes are long like lotus petals. His nose is elevated and charming. His eyebrows are graceful and very beautiful. His arms extend to his knees. His neck shines like a conch. His chest is broad and marked with auspicious signs. Seeing his beauty, even Lakshmi Devi becomes enchanted. When Sita heard that even Lakshmi becomes enchanted, that's when she realized that this is the person for whom she descended on earth to be with. And the parrots continued, Lord Shri Ram is Mahabalo, Mahaviryo. He is powerful, heroic, and supremely beautiful. As Sita heard these words, she began to faint. That is when the female parrot said to Sita, who are you? Tvam kasi, tu namasi. What is your name? How comes you are asking me these questions with so much attention and so much focus? Tell me who you are. Then Sita said, the person who you are speaking about in this future pastime of Ram, I am that Sita. I am the daughter of Maharaj Janak. You have just told me that Ram will be marrying me in the future. In that case, stay with me in my home, Madgehe, until my marriage day. These two parrots, you'll be the first guest of my marriage. My direct nimantran to you to stay and attend my marriage. The two parrots, what's very interesting is they learned the Ramayana from Maharishi Valmiki. They learnt about Sita, they learnt about Ram, and when they met Sita in person, and Sita asked the parrots to stay in her home until the day of her marriage, just see how the parrots responded. The parrots, Vepatur Bhayatam Gadao, they became fearful. Their bodies began trembling. And the parrots said, we are forest birds. We roam freely. We cannot live happily in anyone's home. And then the female parrot explained, I'm actually pregnant. After giving birth, I will then come back to you and stay in your home. Now, if you read Bhagavad Gita, it is the object of one's life to be connected to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when His energy is inviting you to associate together, the soul's spontaneous reaction is to immediately surrender. But these two parrots, even having learned the Ramayana from Maharishi Valmiki, even having met Sita directly, they rejected Sita. This is why Srila Prabhupada explains that in trying to understand the pastimes of the Lord, try not to be like a parrot that learns the pastimes, learns the stories, and shares them with others. Because in that parrot-like recitation of learning, memorizing, and speaking, love does not awaken. Even if God comes in front of a person about whom you know everything, you will not surrender. Which is why Srila Prabhupada, he created an institution by which all of us can learn the art of love. We can learn the art of devotion. This is what was missing in the hearts of the parrots, the disciples of Maharishi Valmiki. And Sita, she noticed that these two parrots were in fact devatas. The female parrot said, I'm pregnant. Let me go and do my karma. Let me go and look after my family. Let me go back home. Let me perform my duties. Once all of that is done, then I will come to you. Sound familiar? This happens so much. Whereas Krishna says, Sarva dharman pratyajya, mamekam sharanam vraja. Immediately you come to me. Because when you come to me, then all of these activities of life become spontaneously fulfilled under his direction. But the parrots were not yet ready for Sita's mercy, despite being invited to come and live with her. Sita, in her ecstasy, she ignored the parrots. She said to the parrots, I will look after you. I will give you all comfort. I will be affectionate to you. Remain happily by my side. Mat parshve. Sita was saying, I will keep you right beside me. Don't worry. Despite Sita directly asking the jiva, come and reside beside me, still, the jiva in the form of this parrot rejected her. That's when the male parrot then spoke. The male parrot said, as the husband of the female parrot, I am asking you again and again, let us go. Sita did not listen to their plea. Instead, Mother Sita, she asked the parrot, why don't you leave and leave your wife with me? I wish to learn more about Lord Sri Ram. Srila Prabhupada explains in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about the importance of listening to his pastimes. He explains, Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. In Katha, we make an advancement in such a way that our entire being begins to understand his divine personality. That is why Sita was setting an example for all of us of how to become attached to hearing about the Lord. And therefore, she was adamant that the female parrot must stay with me because I am attached to hearing about Ram. Sita was operating on a level of pure devotion, whereas the parrots, they were operating on a level of karma mishra bhakti, performing some religious activities, but at the same time being attached to the material life. That is when the female parrots, overcome by anger, shashapa janakatmajam, the female parrot cursed Sita. Overcome by anger, overcome by passion, the female parrot cursed Sita. Yatatvam patina sardam, as you separate me from my husband, viyojyasi mamitaha, while I am pregnant, yatatvam apiramena, when after you are married to Lord Sri Ram, viyukta bhava garbini, the day that you become pregnant, you will also be separated from Lord Sri Ram. When Sita heard this sharp from the female parrots, she did not flinch. Sita, who is the mother of the universe, the Jagadamba, the Hladini Shakti of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, she assented to this prayer of the female parrots. Why? Sita showed that in life, the absolute priority should only be to be in a circumstance and an environment where you can engage in devotional service. And through this so-called curse, Sita Ma, she decided that I will give to Valmiki Rishi that which his heart has forever been requesting Lord Sri Ram for. The opportunity to serve Sita. Sita felt that after my future marriage to Lord Sri Ram, when I go back to Ayodhya, I am not interested in being a queen. it is a big mistake to assume that after returning from Lanka, Sita wanted to live in the palace of Ayodhya. In fact, when on the Pushpak Viman, you read this in the Ramayana, when Sita and Lord Ram were traveling from Lanka to Ayodhya, Ram began to point out all of the various places of pastimes that he engaged in. Sita was beginning to miss out, realizing how much she missed out on the entire 1 year of Lord Ram traveling through Kishkinda, through Nasik, through Rameshwaram, through Kanyakumari. And at one point, Lord Ram said, "This is where I met Maharishi Valmiki, the great sage who for 60,000 years recited my name, beginning with the word Mara. And in time, the word Mara became Ram, because he was so much engrossed in the material identification, he was unable to recite my name. And Maharishi Valmiki, after becoming my devotee, then Lord Brahma inspired him to write my pastimes." As Sita began to hear this, her heart became attracted to learning more about Lord Shri Ram, which is why she said to Ram, "After we go back to Ayodhya, my heart wishes to go and live in the ashram of Maharishi Valmiki." And this pastime with the two parrots facilitated this innermost desire of Sita. She wanted to bless Maharishi Valmiki. Number two, she wanted to hear the Ramayana, because more superior than the form of Krishna and Lord Shri Ram is his name, is his pastimes, is his kirtan. And therefore, Sita did not want to live in the palace of Ayodhya, watching Lord Ram engage in affairs, looking after the state. She was only interested in hearing Rama Katha and being with the devotees. So number two, she wanted to learn the Ramayana again and again. Number three, she wanted to give Maharishi Valmiki the greatest benediction anyone has ever received in this universe by making him the guru of the children of Lord Shri Ram, Love and Kush. And number four, which is most important, if Sita had not assented to the curse of the female parrot, if Sita had not engaged in this pastime, none of us will ever have heard about Ramayana. Because the fourth reason why Sita wanted to leave Ayodhya and live in the ashram of the devotees of Lord Shri Ram was because Love and Kush would become the very first students of the Ramayana. And Love and Kush, having learned the Ramayana on their sitar, they walk around the city of Ayodhya singing the Ramayana. It is because of Sita that Love and Kush learned the Ramayana from Maharishi Valmiki, after which all of us have got to hear the Ramayana.
रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम सीताराम भज प्यारे तो सीताराम चले आना।
Jai Shri Ramachandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Thank you so much. How very beautiful. Hari Bol. Thank you. Okay, everybody okay so far? Okay, now part 2. Okay. So Sita Ma, when she heard the parrot utter this curse, for her every moment in life is an opportunity to come closer to Lord Shri Ram. Sita smiled at the parrot. The parrot, however, became bewildered. The parrot realized that the person who I am cursing is looking towards me with love. And in that confusion, the female parrot, in her grief, she dropped dead and died on the spot. Now when this happened, Sita Ma, her heart full of compassion, she placed a hand over the female parrot and whispered the name of Ram. The female parrot, Ramam Ramam Smarantyascha, began to recollect the name of Ram, Ram, Ram. And as the female parrot, being caressed by Mother Sita, began to recollect the name of Ram, in the air, Vimanam Agatam Shushtuhu, a spiritual airplane appeared and took the Atma of the female parrot back home to the spiritual world. This is how Mother Sita reciprocated with the female parrot for providing even a few minutes of Rama Katha and for uttering a prayer in such a way that gave Sita the reassurance that in her future she will have the opportunity of year on year to hear Rama Katha in the association of Maharishi Valmiki. While this was the understanding of Sita and the female parrot, the male parrot was completely in another world. The male parrot became extremely angry. The male parrot was so disturbed that the male parrot flew into the air, ignored Sita, and landed in the Ganga and committed suicide. That is how sad the male parrot was. While the male parrot entered into Ganga to end its life, the male parrot proclaimed, "Next life, I shall be born in the city of Ayodhya, and I will cause the separation from Sita and Ram by my words." The scriptures explain, "Yaha krodhach jaswakan pranan." Anyone who leaves their body, anyone who dies in anger, is born in a birth full of poor conduct. This bird, the male bird who had entered Mother Ganga, angry at what just took place, later on appeared in Ayodhya in the form of a simple washerman named Krodhan. Krodhan was the only person in the entire Ayodhya, full of millions and millions of people, who criticized Sita and Ram. When Vedavati entered into Agni for the Pariksha and Sita Ma came out, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, they all appeared. In fact, even Maharaj Dashrath appeared, and they all proclaimed Sita to be pure. Why? Because when Ravan was approaching Lord Ram and Sita to kidnap Sita, Lord Ram asked Sita, enter into our Havan Kund and remain hidden for 1 year. And while you are hidden in the Agni Kund, let us fulfill the desire of Vedavati, who was offended and in fact abused by Ravan many years ago. And having had her hair pulled by Ravan, she ended her life in a similar Havan Kund. Let Vedavati take your place and fulfill her curse of being the cause of the destruction of Ravan. While Sita had entered into Agni for 1 entire year, where did she go? What did she do? The greatest devotee of Lord Shri Ram, Lord Shiva and Mata Parvati, they asked Sita, please come and stay with us for 1 year in Mount Kailas. While we see the earthly pastimes of Lord Shri Ram being enacted, we shall discuss about the pastimes together. And Sita agreed. So while Vedavati was kidnapped by Ravan and taken to Lanka, Ma Sita was living in Kailas with Lord Shiva and Parvati, discussing the pastimes that were unfolding in earth. That is why when Vedavati entered the Agni Pariksha and Sita Ma came out, that is why Brahma and Shiva said that she is pure, because she had just spent the entire year with Lord Shiva and Parvati doing what she most loved to do, hearing Rama Katha. This is the theme in the life of Sita. If you reflect upon the theme in the life of Shri Radharani, it is exactly the same. All they wish to do is Hari Kirtanam, glorify and sing the glories of Lord Shri Ram, Lord Shri Krishna. When Krodhan had criticized Sita and Ram, he was the only person who did so. Nobody else in Ayodhya agreed with him. They were all aligned with Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. It's a very important point to note that Krodhan, the washerman who criticized Sita for being placed on the throne after having lived in Sri Lanka for 1 year, it was only because of this particular pastime that took place when Sita was young, on the plea for Sita to enter into Maharishi Valmiki's ashram. Therefore, when we speak about the banishment of Sita to the forest, understand this is not true. This is what externally it may look like, but in fact, this was none other than Mother Sita wanting to engage in Rama Katha. Please take very careful note of this, especially because it is a fact that if there is one thing that Lord Shri Ram is misunderstood for, is for sending Sita back into exile, which never took place. It was Sita who wanted to go back to the forest and teach her children Ramayana, so they can not be princes, not be kings, but be on Sankirtan, sharing and glorifying the Ramayana, after which, through their efforts, it has come to us today. When Lord Shri Ram had entered into Kanyakumari, we are now fast forwarding into the second pastime I would like to share with you. When he entered into Kanyakumari and he had saw in front of him that the ocean is very difficult to bind in order to cross over to Lanka, Lord Shri Ram, all of you know, he fashioned a Shiva Linga and he began to worship the Shiva Linga. The question is, why did Lord Ram worship Lord Shiva on the banks of Kanyakumari? There is no connection between Lord Shiva, the Rama Setu, and Kanyakumari. Why worship Lord Shiva? In fact, before some construction, there's a tradition to worship Ganesh or Vastu. Why Lord Shiva? In fact, there was no reason. Because the real reason why Lord Ram worshipped Lord Shiva was because 4.32 billion years ago, when Lord Shri Ram came to earth in the previous creation, when he appeared to enact Ramayana, the point at which we are talking of now, when Lord Ram came to the ocean, he saw there was a temple of Lord Shiva at the banks of Kanyakumari. And when he saw the Shiva Linga in the temple, this is Ramayana in the previous creation that was spoken by Jambavan. In the same way that Ramayana in this creation, approximately 1 million years ago, was spoken by Valmiki, Jambavan had spoken Ramayana in the previous creation. And he explains that Lord Ram, he went over to the temple of Lord Shiva and he began to pray to Lord Shiva. When Lord Shiva saw that Ram had entered his temple, he immediately manifested within his Shivalinga, sitting with Mama Parvati. And he asked Lord Ram, please tell me, how can I serve you? Then Lord Ram said, Lankam Gamishyami Samudra Tarane. I wish to cross this gigantic ocean and Gamishyami Lanka and enter into Lanka so I can retrieve Sita Devi. Lord Shiva explained to Lord Ram that I have a solution by which you can cross over the ocean and enter into Lanka. He said, Mama Ajagavam Danur Asti. I have a bow which is named Ajagavam. Ajagavam is the bow of Lord Shiva. He explains, Tat Kala Rupam Avikalpam Va Bhavati. This bow of mine called Ajagavam, based upon your desire, it changes its form. Why don't you utilize the Ajagavam bow to cross the ocean and enter into Lanka? Lord Shri Ram assented. He meditated upon the Ajagavam bow. The bow appeared. Lord Shiva gave his bow to Lord Shri Ram. When Lord Shri Ram received the bow, the Ajagavam bow, he then Jalaudho Apatayat. He placed the bow on top of the ocean. And based upon the thinking of Lord Shri Ram, the bow of Lord Shiva expanded. Dhanustatam. The bow expanded to reach to the banks of Lanka. And on this bow, Lord Ram, Hanuman, Vibhishan, and the Ram Sena, Sugriv, Jambavan, Angad, they all crossed the ocean by walking on top of the bow of Lord Shiva, the Ajagavam bow. In this creation, when Lord Ram was enacting the Ramayana, he remembered the service of Lord Shiva, and that is why he worshipped Lord Shiva at this time, despite Nala and Nila being asked to construct the bridge for Ramayana in this creation. This is the real reason why Lord Ram worshipped Lord Shiva, because the Ajagavam bow. It is the Ajagavam bow that was later on given to Raja Mandhata, and Maharaj Prithu in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada explains, also received this bow. And Maharati Arjun's Gandiv also expanded from Lord Shiva's Ajagavam bow. This is the reason why Lord Shiva was worshipped by Lord Shri Ram at this creation. The Lord never forgets the services and the sacrifices that we perform life after life, let alone creation after creation. And Lord Shri Ram demonstrates his love for his devotees in this way.
मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। राम आएंगे, आएंगे, राम आएंगे।
राम आएंगे, आएंगे, राम आएंगे।
मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। मेरी झोपड़ी के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। राम आएंगे तो अंगना सजाऊंगी, राम आएंगे तो अंगना सजाऊंगी। दीप जला के दिवाली मैं मनाऊंगी, दीप जला के दिवाली मैं मनाऊंगी। मेरे जन्मों के सारे पाप मिट जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। मेरे जन्मों के सारे पाप मिट जाएंगे, राम आएंगे। मैं तो रुचि रुचि भोग लगाऊंगी, मैं तो रुचि रुचि भोग लगाऊंगी। माखन मिसरी में राम को खिलाऊंगी, माखन मिसरी में राम को खिलाऊंगी। प्यारी प्यारी राधे प्यारे श्याम संग आएंगे, राम आएंगे। प्यारी प्यारी राधे प्यारे श्याम संग आएंगे, राम आएंगे। श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। श्री राम जय राम,
जय जय राम।
बोलो श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम।
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 श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीता राम। राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम
जय सीता
बोलो राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीता राम।
राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीता राम।
राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीता राम।
राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीता राम।
राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीता राम।
राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीता राम।
राम सिया राम जय जय राम। राम सिया राम जय जय राम। राम सिया राम जय जय राम।
राम सिया राम जय जय राम।
बोलो राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीता राम।
राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीता राम।
राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीता राम।
राम राम जय राजा राम, राम राम जय सीता राम।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम
Thank you so much. Haribol. Thank you. So any mistakes in the katha can be mitigated by hearing the beautiful bhajans. If you're getting bored of the katha, you can enjoy the bhajans, which is why we have them as well. So we have just, time goes so fast, we have 25 minutes. Small announcement, we have the coach, final coach leaving at 8:15. At 8:30. So please don't miss your coach. Otherwise, you'll have to stay with me here, having Rama Katha. Okay? You'll tolerate me for longer than that. Final pastime. Everyone's enjoying so far? No. Good. Because my job here is to try to extract some unique pastimes that Srila Prabhupada hinted in his purports. Share them with yourself so you can add more information to what you already know about Lord Shri Ram. That's why they say, Hari Ananta, Hari Katha Ananta, right? Acha, Dhanyavad ji. So Hari Ananta, Hari Katha Ananta. Lord Ram's Katha wo to Ananti hai. But to understand why Lord Ram's Katha is Ananta, opportunities like this are very rare. I am now going to share with you one of my favorite pastimes, which I have never shared with anyone, even my wife. ठीक है? तो सबसे गूढ़, सबसे रहस्य लीला. Right? The most interesting pastime that I feel is so beautiful. So I'm going to try to share this to all of you here today. And the reason why this is my favorite pastime, because I can relate to it a lot, and perhaps some of you will also relate to it as well. Okay? So let's do the last pastime before we end Rama Navami 2026. So, all of you know that Hanumanji, he went to Lanka and he massacred 1/4 of Ravan's Sena. And he burnt Soniki Lanka. He burnt the golden Lanka. And he frightened every single person in Lanka. Everyone knows that Hanuman is strong. He has biceps, he has muscles, he is courageous. Everyone knows that actually for Hanuman to jump from Kanyakumari to Lanka and to frighten everybody and massacre 1/4 of Ravan's Sena actually is no big deal from that perspective, because Hanuman is Pavan Putra. Jai 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 Hanuman Gosai, Garudeva ke 9. Hanuman is Sakshat Lord Shiva. Naase rog Hari Sapira, Japa Nirantar Hanumant Bira. Even by reciting his name, one becomes freed from all sinful reactions. Bhuta Pret Digatanaya Ave, Mahabir Jaba. Just by reciting the name of Lord Shri Ram through Hanuman's agency, Bhuta Pishach, they all run away. So Hanuman is strong. So therefore, I cannot relate too much to this pastime, because Hanuman was made for this reason. But there was one young boy in the Sena of Lord Shri Ram. This one young boy was only 14 years old. And he was very weak. He was what they say in Hindi, dubla patla. Okay? Very soft-hearted. This boy, like most of us, God at some point in our life takes away our mother, our father, our loved ones. This boy in his life, Lord Shri Ram, took away his father in front of his very own eyes. This boy had seen everything that we see in our entire life just in a few years of his existence. Now, unfortunately, this boy also witnessed his father commit great sins. Although this boy knew that what his father is doing is adharmic. For example, this boy's father, he had kidnapped the wife of his own brother, Rama. He had kidnapped Rama and he sent his brother Sugriv into exile. His father's name was Balshali Vali. And this young boy, his name was Angad. Do you know the story of Angad? So beautiful. So when, after crossing the ocean of Lanka, and Ram, Vibhishan, Jambavan, they all arrived at Lanka, they then camped at a place called Mount Suvela. Lord Sri Ram was thinking that war and violence, nobody survives. It is full of destruction. And many innocent people, they become implicated, as some of you will know what's happening today. Therefore, let us try one final time to convince Ravan to give up Sita and let Ram return without any bloodshed back to Ayodhya. Immediately, Sugriv, they all said, send Hanuman. He just came back from there. They'll be really scared to see him return. And he's so good at speaking. But then, Jambavan said, if you send Hanuman, Ravan, Meghnad, Atike, they're all going to believe perhaps Hanuman is the only strong person you have in your army. Therefore, Hanuman can't go back. Who should we send as a Shanti Dood? Remember, Lord Krishna in the Mahabharata, he himself became a Shanti Dood. God is he who is an ambassador of peace. Ahimsa Paramo Dharmaha. Lord Krishna himself became a Shanti Dood, as all of you know. The Mahabharata Katha is something else. But Jambavan said, there is one person here who is very innocent, he's very sweet, and he's very mature. Angad. Send Angad to Lanka. To Ravan's palace in Lanka as the Shanti Dood. Now, in the army of Lord Ram, everybody doubted Angad. They said, this is the same Angad whose father was killed by Lord Ram. This is the same Angad who is now a servant of Lord Ram. How can we trust him? How can we trust him to go and do the right thing? Perhaps he'll tell Ravan all of Lord Ram's secrets. Perhaps he'll tell Ravan about all of the weaknesses. He himself is weak. How is he going to stand up to Ravan, Meghnad, Indrajit, and everybody else in Ravan's palace? Lord Ram, however, disagreed with everybody. Lord Ram said, I trust this boy. Let him go. Angad came, and just by Lord Ram having faith in Angad, Angad became overwhelmed, and he placed his head at the feet of Lord Shri Ram and said to Lord Shri Ram, whatever you desire, I will try to do. Lord Ram said, just try to make Ravan understand about the implications of war, of violence, of arguments and conflict, and see what happens after that. Angad, as he left Mount Suvela, entered at the doorstep of Ravan's palace. The gatekeeper asked Angad, who are you? What would you like? Having found out from Angad his purpose, he very respectfully escorted Angad into the palace of Ravan. He saw on a gigantic throne Ravan seated with his 10 heads, surrounded by his ministers. At the very edge of Ravan's seat was the person who conquered the entire heavens, Indrajit. They all looked at this small boy, Angad. And Ravan said, who are you? Angad said, I am the son of your friend, Vali, and I have come with a message of peace. Ravan, give up Sita. Let Ram go back to Ayodhya peacefully. This is the message that I bring to you. Ravan, he began laughing. He said, Angad, this is the same Ram who made you fatherless. Vali was my best friend. You have come to your own home. Come and take a seat in my assembly. Join my army. I will make sure that you take revenge from Lord Shri Ram. I will make sure that you become the king of the whole of Bharat. Come to my side. This is the first attempt of Maya. When we all try to do the right thing, it gives us alternatives. Srila Prabhupada explains that the Maya Shakti looks good, it feels good, it tastes good, but actually it's an image full of pain. When Angad heard this, he said, Ravan, my father was adharmic and he was killed by Ram while he had turned his back to him because Vali was a beast. He acted in adharma. In the same way that you kidnapped Sita, Vali kidnapped Ruma, my aunt. And for that reason, Vali was not the adhikar of adharmic combat. And therefore Lord Shri Ram faced him as you face a beast and shot him from behind. This was in fact dharma. You cannot assume that dharma would enact with you if you are adharmic, which is why in the Mahabharata, sorry we're digressing, in the Mahabharata, the reason why many of the Kauravas all died in adharmic ways was because they did not have the adhikar to be perished through dharma. Krishna said, if you are adharmic, you will perish in an adharmic way, not in a righteous way. That is dharma. And this is why Lord Ram killed Vali correctly. Then Ravan said, who is this Ram? Do you know that I cut off all of my 10 heads and offered it to Lord Shiva? Do you know that on my hands I carried Mount Kailas, on top of which Mother Parvati and Lord Shiva were personally seated? Why are you so attached to this Ram? Do you know that Maharaj Dashrath sent Ram to exile because he was no good for the throne? He had no qualities. This is why in fact he was sent to exile. It was not because of Maharani Kaikeyi. That was just an excuse. No one likes Ram. In fact, Ram, he is just a mortal man. Angad, for the first time, he heard the criticisms of Lord Shri Ram. He jumped from his seat. He grabbed his two fists and he hit them. He slammed them on the ground, on the floor of the palace of Ravan. When Angad smashed his fists on the ground, the entire palace, the entire Lanka shook. Every single person who was seated in Ravan's palace fell onto the floor, even Indrajit. Ravan, he was also just about to fall on the floor. He suddenly stood up in order to keep himself from falling. Angad said, you wretch, are you the same Ravan who came to my father Vali? And Vali then picked you up like a mosquito and kept him under his armpits and traveled around the earth for 6 months while you were under his armpit. Are you the same Ravan who went once to disturb the bath of Kartavirya Arjun? And Kartavirya Arjun simply flicked you away hundreds of miles. Are you the same Ravan who went to Patal Lok, and in Patal Lok the children of the Nagas They began to play with you and they captured you and they kept you in their toy room, playing and dressing you up as a girl. Are you that Ravan? Ravan said, yes, it's me, the same Ravan. But understand, the person who you are belittling, he has all the devatas in his kitchen cooking for him. Vayu is like my vacuum who cleans my entire house just by blowing himself. Rahu, Shani, they sit at my feet. That is who I am, Dashanand Ravan. And this Ram of yours, he is just a man, a weakling, just like yourself. Angad said, if you have so much ego that you think you can defeat Ram, if you have so much ego that you think that you can defeat his simple servants, then I declare to you, in the presence of your wife Mandodari, in the presence of Meghnad Indrajit, in the presence of your entire family, that I place my foot in the center of your assembly, and if anyone can move my foot, Ram will give up Sita. He will return back to Ayodhya, wifeless, and live as a widower. Come and move my foot. Angad, he slammed his right foot in the center of Ravan's palace. This weak, little, skinny boy of the age of 14. First, the doorkeepers came and they tried to move Angad's foot. Nothing happened. Then the world champions who had conquered the heavens all came forward, one by one, one by one. No one was even able to lift the small toe of Angad's right foot. Ravan was shocked. Who is empowering this Angad? He took such a big oath. Who is helping him? And then Ravan's own sons, one by one, went to Angad and they tried to move his foot. Nothing happened. And then some of his other sons brought devices, probably spanners and hammers, and they tried to move Angad's foot. Angad's foot was not moving. This is what Lord Shri Ram does or can do to any of us. Doesn't matter how weak or small or timid we are. Then Ravan looked at Meghnad. Meghnad stood up. When Meghnad stood up, Lord Indra fell on the floor. The demigods, the celestials began to shake. Angad, why did you do this? Meghnad, who is undefeatable. Meghnad is the master of black magic. When he fights, he's invisible. No one can conquer him. Why did you do this, Angad? Now Sita will stay in Lanka and Lord Ram will return back to Ayodhya empty-handed. Meghnad stood up. 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, he entered the arena. He placed his right hand on the thigh of Angad, left hand on Angad's foot, and with all of the power of the universe, all 33 million gods in the form of Meghnad, the black hearts, the Pishachas, the Rakshasas, the Danavas, the Kinnaras, the Sindhas, the Gandharvas, every living entity of all power in the fingertips of Meghnad were unable to move the right foot of Angad. Meghnad fell to the ground. He just couldn't understand what was happening. He returned to his seat and he put his head down. And then Ravan stood up. And Ravan said, "What is this magic going on? Let me give it a go." Ravan came down from his steps, and as he faced Angad, Angad just smiled. Sweet Angad was just smiling. In his heart, he had captured Lord Shri Ram. and Sri Ram was protecting his devotee. Ravan came down on his knees, and as Ravan was about to touch the feet of Angad, Angad lifted his foot and said, "You fool, why touch my feet? Go and touch the feet of Lord Sri Ram." Shri Angadeva ki jai. Ravan was bewildered. Angad said, "You will not get any satisfaction touching my feet. Go and enter the dust of the feet of Lord Sri Ram, by whose dust I am able to perform this small service." Ravan fell over. When he fell over, all of his 10 crowns fell on the ground. Ravan began to collect the crowns, put them back on his head. Angad was much faster than Ravan. Angad grabbed the first crown and he threw it from Ravan's palace all the way to Lord Sri Ram. He grabbed the second crown, the third crown, and the fourth crown. All 4 crowns were hurled by Angad all the way to where Lord Sri Ram was seated with Hanuman, Jambavan, Sugriva, Ityadi. The Kapis, when they were seeing the 4 crowns coming their way, they were thinking perhaps some planets, some stars are about to smash us and crush us. Lord Ram said, "Don't be afraid. These 4 crowns are the crowns of Ravan that Angad has hurled all the way from his palace. Don't be afraid." Hanuman then grabbed all 4 crowns. He caught in his hand like you do a tennis ball or a football or a basketball. All 4 crowns, and he placed those 4 crowns at the feet of Lord Sri Ram. And Ravan only had 6 crowns on his head. Angad then jumped and leaped, left Ravan's palace, landed at the feet of Lord Sri Ram. Lord Sri Ram began to laugh. He began to laugh so much that his eyes became full of tears. He said to Angad, "How were you able to do this? Ravan is incredibly powerful. How was it possible for you to throw 4 of his crowns, take them off his head?" Angad bowed to Lord Sri Ram and said, "My dear Lord, you are omniscient. You know everything. Whatever has happened because of your kripa." These 4 crowns, in fact, represent the final righteousness that was living in the heart of Ravan as the son of Maharishi Vishrava, as the great-grandson of Maharishi Pulastya. All of their piety, all of their punya had all entered into these 4 crowns, having emptied Ravan from all righteousness, all dan, all punya, all dharmic activities conducted by his predecessors. Ravan had now no dharma to protect him. And this is how Lord Sri Ram was able to massacre Ravan, who now had become emptied of all righteousness. The reason why Angad placed his foot in the assembly of Ravan was because every single warrior in Ravan's Sena were about to get the great fortune of seeing Lord Sri Ram in person. And that can only be possible if you first take the dust of the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas. And only because the Sena of Ravan touched the feet of a Vaishnava like Angad were they then qualified to see Lord Sri Ram in person. And this is the benediction that Srila Prabhupada has given to all of us here. We all come to his lotus feet, take the dust, place it to our head, and based upon the dharma, the devotional services, and the love that Srila Prabhupada has toward Lord Shri Krishna, Lord Sri Ram, we can all attempt to worship the deity that he established here at Bhaktivedanta Manor. And Angad exemplified the importance of always approaching the Lord through his devotees. And no matter who you are, whatever gender you are, no matter how much money or power you don't have, whether you are weak or strong, doesn't matter. If you are a devotee of Lord Shri Ram, even you can defeat a Sena like Ravan's simply by having faith in Bhagwan Shri Ram Chandra. Thank you so much. It is now 8:30, so we'll end today. I would just like to thank all of you for being here to share Rama Navami with all of us. I also want to just thank our trustee here at Bhaktivedanta Manor, my dear godbrother and a good friend, Sundar Ananda Prabhuji, and Bhenji Kirti Radhika for allowing this katha to take place. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to our musicians, Jigna, Amar, of course, Jayarajji, Dylan, I'm so sorry, your name?
Raj.
Raj and Bhavik ji, thank you so much for being on stage here and keeping this katha alive. And I'll hand it back over to Prabhuji. Thank you all so much. Happy Rama Navami to 2026. Wishing you all the best for the year ahead. Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Can we just have a big round of applause for Sri Radharaman Prabhu and all the music group. We often thank and appreciate the person sitting in front of us, but there is somebody who happens to be behind him organizing and helping the organization of this katha. So can we just have a big round of applause for Ananga Mataji, who's sitting there but quietly does all the work behind the scenes. Sri Radharaman Prabhu is a very busy person in his outside life. He's a global head at a bank and traveling the world, but has this huge love for the Lord, and obviously he's extremely well read and knowledgeable. So we are so fortunate for that he takes his time to do all the research and provides us the insight of a lot of us haven't heard before. So again, I would just like to have one big round of applause for Radharaman Prabhu. Can I also thank the wonderful organizers? So.